recording. Action scripting is the programming language of Flash. Okay, action scripting is the programming language of Flash. It's based on something called JavaScript. And JavaScript I used to describe in web design class was movement on the screen. Action scripting is a little bit further, but action scripting is only going to be applicable in the Flash environment. In my computer programming class, if I knew more about action scripting, who knows, I would do the entire 12 weeks in action scripting because that's a very viable programming language. Apps for phones, even though the iPhone kind of nixes it, could be written using action scripting. There's a lot you can do with it. Okay. Now here's a movie I've kind of worked with so far. And you should have 3 scenes. I only have the 1. Let me make a new scene, and we're going to start applying some actions. As I make my new scene, something you need to be aware of what you can apply actions to. You can apply actions to symbols and to keyframes. You can apply action scripting to symbols and to keyframes. Okay, I'm going to move this up. I'm going to call this intro. See, I have an intro scene, so I've added a new scene. Yesterday we talked a little bit about buttons, and we'll touch again on buttons and movie clips a little bit further, but yesterday you should have learned how to make a button. I'm going to make a simple button. I'm going to make this a go button. All right, I'm going to call it go, and I'm going to put a big box here, and we'll have some Sparty Pride. We'll make it green. And then I'm going to take some, I'm doing this on a new layer because I can use layers here. Text, and we'll take our text tool, we'll make the text white, come over here, go. It says go. On the overstate, we want the text to say the same thing, F6, we want the button to look the same, but maybe we'll change it slightly so it's like a darker green. So when you go over the button, it'll change from that to that. Okay, that's my button. My down area, I don't want to be anything special. My hit area, I really don't need because the hit area, the box will be active. If I just use the text, I may need a hit area. So that's my go button. Now I'm going to bring it out here, and here's what's going to happen right now. And I test the movie now. Notice I'm testing my movie, not my scene. Something about Flash is Flash is always going forward. So I'm going to kind of make a mistake on purpose. I'm going to test my movie. Flash always going forward. So you really didn't even see my go button. The reason you didn't see my go button is on the stage for 1/24th of a second long and immediately went to the next scene. Okay, you may have picked it up there. Hardly on there. So what I need to do is I need to apply a stop action. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call this layer Actions. Actions layer is a special layer for a Flash programmer. The only thing that goes on the action layer is keyframes for action scripting. I'll never put anything visible on that layer. Okay. Now a stop action is something that stops the movie. It stops the timeline. Stop action will stop the timeline. So I'm going to select this frame, and I'm going to open a new window. I'm going to open the Actions window. F9 is the Actions window. I've opened a new window. I see this, and this will look like this initially when you open up, probably look along these lines. Okay. Now it's important that you use ActionScripting 2.0 in creating your document. If not, you're going to have some issues. Okay. But if I've told you all along, do ActionScript 2.0. Under ActionScript 2.0, I have the option called Global Functions, Timeline Control, and Stop. When I double click the stop, it writes the code for me. Neat thing about action scripting, I think, is in Flash you have this program, this kind of, it's code hinter. It will write the code for you. This piece of code here, stop, that's the programming language to stop the timeline. It's pretty simple there. Further we go on, some of the programming gets really complex and it's not as intuitive. Stop, that's pretty straightforward. So let's look at this now. I opened up the Actions window, and I went to Global Functions, Timeline Control, Stop. You open the Actions window a couple ways. There's a shortcut key, which I forget. You go to Window, and actions. The F9 key will open it. Okay. Now that's apply to stop action. Now I've applied a stop action to this. Let's test our movie again. Let's go Control, test movie. Now, cool. I got a go button, but the thing is, when I click on the go button, nothing's happening. I gotta make the go button do something. And what I'm going to do with the go button to make it do something is I'm going to apply some action scripting to it. I'm going to apply a play action to it. I'm going to apply a play action. So I'm going to select my button. Now I'm careful. I want to make sure the button is selected. I open my actions window. And I do that, if you look on the bottom here, the go button is selected. And I can double click and say play. So now I double click to play. A play action is applied to it. And, ooh, I'm not sure if that's what I'm angling for here. This may not work because it didn't look like it wrote the right code. We'll see. Okay, it's not working. Let me show you why here. I got to go into this actions window. Open it up. Movie clip control. And we want timeline control. Okay. I see that little button right there, build scripts by selecting items from the actions toolbox. See, that's kind of important. I'm going to click that little magic wand tool. And I double click it. The code that was written now is a little bit different. On release play. I needed that. I knew before I had a hint it wasn't going to work. Okay, I knew it wasn't going to work because I know the code to make something play on a button. You need this on release command. It's initially not going to be written. You need this guy right here, kind of magic wand. It is a assist tool. It's going to help you write your code. So you want to make sure it's selected. Okay, you want to make sure it is on there, because if not, it's not going to work. Now let's test our movie.
Pardon the interruption, but would Mrs. Osterberg please report back to the classroom? Mrs. Osterberg please report back to the classroom.
So you add the go action to the button. That's really important, all right? Otherwise, it won't work. All right, so today we're kind of taking this action scripting. I'm breaking down into two classes. Today I showed you how to do a stop and a go to a button. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to make buttons to go to the scene then, a button to the scene now, a button to the scene later. But do this simple stuff first, stop and go, so you have to be able to control it. Any questions about what I showed you? Your buttons do not have to be that tricky. You can do what I'm showing you, all right? All right, guys, get to work.